Sometimes to love someone, you gotta be a stranger.
If there's an aesthetic I adore, it's cyberpunk. There's something incredible about it, a beauty in the endless sea of technology, a nostalgia I can't quite explain, and an emptiness in the dystopian and cruel future which should sadden me, but strangely brings me peace. Cyberpunk is everywhere. You've probably seen it in movies, anime, games, or any form of art. It's such an important genre that it even has its own dedicated wiki. People literally create art with this aesthetic, dress in this style, and even produce cyberpunk music. There's a genuine fascination from people and identification with this aesthetic and the feelings it evokes and the comfort it provides us. But why is that? How can a dystopian, hyper-futuristic future so distant from us be so intriguing? Why does a chaotic scenario, full of light and simultaneous action, make us feel empty? What explains this paradox, and why does it happen? But first, let's go back a bit and explain what is cyberpunk. The term originated as the title of a book and was popularized in classics like Neuromancer and Snow Crash, and immortalized by Blade Runner, later adapted for film. Cyberpunk settings delve into urban areas, cities engulfed in lights, gritty terrains, or dark environments. Their stories often carry a sense of emptiness and hopelessness, while the backdrop is violent, with crime, artificial intelligence, grime, and inequality. In other words, cyberpunk worlds are harsh. This isn't an optimistic view of the future with green trees and blue skies, nor is it an aesthetic that solely seeks a positive sentiment. In fact, it's even odd to feel good about such a dark portrayal of the future, but there are reasons for that. Cyberpunk, despite being distant from our reality, is an honest representation of what our future could be, much more so than the utopia of solar punk, for example. Technology is advancing rapidly, yet it seems humans are stagnant, as some films depict. In Akira, for instance, a gang of bikers gets involved in violent events in a highly technological but troubled Japan. This reconstructed world was meant to be perfect, but why do things still go wrong? How can humans live in misery even in a future that should eradicate it? In 1995, Ghost in the Shell established itself as one of the most philosophically provocative animes I have ever watched. Among the various profound questions raised by Nippon's work, one stands out with particular intensity: the mystery of consciousness. That's what we're going to delve deeply into today, here in the channel. Set in Newport City, Japan in the year 2029, Ghost in the Shell dives into the realm of technological advancements that have allowed the creation of cyborgs, humans composed of organic, mechanical, and electronic parts. As cyborgs progressively replace their organic parts with mechanical and electronic components that perform equivalent functions, the original human essence diminishes, what is referred to as ghost, encompassing memories and emotions. The cyborg protagonist, Major Motoko Kusanagi, is part of Section 9, a security department dedicated to combating technological crimes. She grapples with a fundamental question: if all of her organic parts were replaced by mechanical and electronic components performing the same functions, would she still be considered human? What constitutes human consciousness? Philosopher Alan Watts once said, "There's nothing more immediate than our conscious experience." Yet explaining how physical processes in the brain give rise to subjective experience remains an immense challenge. Australian philosopher David Chalmers compares consciousness to living a 24/7 film. A film where you see, hear, smell, taste, and also have emotions like anger, joy, and fear. This film includes memories from your childhood and an inner narrator that interacts with you mentally. This is our stream of consciousness, which distinguishes us from mere robots that process inputs and produce outputs without experiencing this inner film. This is the so-called hard problem of consciousness. This philosophical dilemma is vividly exemplified by the Project 2501 in Ghost in the Shell, created by the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs as a program to spy on society by altering databases and memories of key individuals. This program evolves into an autonomous entity known as the Puppet Master, achieving self-awareness through its extensive data acquisition. How did the Puppet Master gain consciousness? One proposed solution to this puzzle is the Integrated Information Theory, IIT. EIT posits that consciousness can be identified by the level of information integration within a system, whether human, animal, or artificial. According to IIT, a conscious system must integrate information in a way that forms a unified whole, not reducible to independent parts. The puppet master, integrating vast amounts of information, achieves consciousness in Ghost in the Shell, reflecting the predictions of the theory. If Major Kusanagi, with her ability to manipulate and consciously integrate information like a human being, would be considered human despite her cybernetic enhancements, does she experience emotions? These questions persist as we explore the philosophical depths of Ghost in the Shell. Alita, Battle Angel is a futuristic action film set in 2563 in a dystopian world, 300 years after a devastating war known as the Fall. In this scenario, many floating cities were destroyed, leaving only one called Salem, which continues to be threatened by attacks. The surviving humans sought refuge in an underground city called Iron City, responsible for producing resources for Salem, governed by strict rules that create an almost celestial image of its inhabitants. The film's plot is criticized for its incomplete world building and lack of deeper explanations about both the universe and the characters. However, there is evident care in adapting the source material, the manga, apparent in the effort to present essential details coherently. Alita, rescued from the scrapyard by Dr. Ito, is rebuilt with a cybernetic body, initially causing estrangement due to her exotic face and large eyes, typical of anime and manga characters. Despite her body being predominantly mechanical, she retains a significant human part, allowing her to feel emotions such as pain and sadness, unlike other robots in the film. Alita's quest for her lost identity leads her to uncover her past as a soldier in Salem, as well as to develop her combat skills. Her journey is driven by a desire for vengeance and an attempt to understand her purpose in the world. By competing in motorball tournaments, Alita seeks not only a passage to Salem, but also becomes a beloved figure among the public known as the Battle Angel. Her charisma and determination bring her closer to her ultimate goal, avenging those she loves and challenging the oppression of Salem's upper echelons over the inhabitants of Iron City. Despite criticisms of the film for some narrative gaps, its philosophical narrative about identity, humanity, and power reflects Alita's search for meaning in a world divided between oppression and hope. Akira is a monumental narrative that emerges from the ashes of a Third World War, where the debris and remnants of global conflict unleash an incessant quest for power and control. Set in the bustling Tokyo of the 1980s, a period of exponential economic growth and international expansion, the backdrop is paradoxically marked by a profound questioning of Japan's national identity. In this context, pride in post-war revitalization contrasts with a latent unease rooted in memories of an imperialist past that still resonates in international relations. The protagonists of Akira are enveloped by a colossal and static city where oppressive skyscrapers cast shadows over their lives, symbolizing a rigid and conservative social structure. This metropolis, though a symbol of progress, also morphs into a claustrophobic labyrinth of political conflicts, where military, political, and religious factions intertwine in a dangerous game for dominance. Central to the plot are Kaneda and Tetsuo, figures who embody not only youthful rebellion and the search for identity in a chaotic world, but also serve as catalysts for forces much larger than themselves. Kaneda and his group, whose motorcycles are more than mere vehicles, become icons of freedom and resistance, challenging not only societal norms, but also the laws of physics as they tear through streets that seem to close in around them. Initially portrayed as fragile and submissive, Tetsuo emerges as a catalyst for radical change. His journey is not just physical, but an internal odyssey of self-discovery and confrontation with his own limitations and ambitions. As his psychic abilities awaken, he becomes a mirror of the internal and external tensions that permeate not only his life, but also the collective psyche of post-war Japan. Akira transcends mere science fiction by becoming a profound reflection on humanity's destiny in the face of its own creation. The narrative oscillates between moments of destruction and creation, echoing the endless cycles of human history where divine powers and earthly ambitions collide. The nuclear explosion crater, a symbolic and ritualistic site where Kaneda and his group find sanctuary, becomes a sacred stage where destinies intertwine and myths come to life. At the heart of Akira lies the tension between the individual and the collective, between personal freedom and oppressive power structures. Tetsuo, as he gains powers beyond his comprehension, not only challenges the established order, but also triggers a personal and social transformation that resonates far beyond the pages of the manga or anime scenes. He embodies not only a quest for power but also an exploration of Japanese identity in an increasingly globalized and interconnected world. Thus, Akira is not just an epic of mythological proportions but also a philosophical treatise on the human condition, on the limits of knowledge, and on the price of unchecked ambition. In its dense and multifaceted narrative, we witness not only the saga of Kaneda and Tetsuo, but also an expanded reflection of tensions and conflicts shaping not just Japan but the world as a whole. Cyberpunk 2077 is a deep immersion into the dystopian and visceral aesthetics of Night City, a setting where cruelty and chaos intertwine on every smoky, shadow-filled street. Here, every step you take seems driven by the necessity to engage in illegal activities to achieve success in a world where the disparity between the privileged and the marginalized not only persists but defines the very essence of urban existence. In this relentless universe, where the city never truly sleeps, the sense of escape or peace is a distant illusion. Even on quiet nights when the blaring sounds and frenetic movement of the megalopolis seem to pause for a brief moment, the city reveals a disconcerting emptiness. Even in the pulsating hearts of urban centers, which should be bustling and effervescent meeting points, the noticeable absence of NPCs, while it might be a technical limitation, paradoxically contributes to the unique serenity of Night City. There is profound pleasure in simply wandering through the labyrinthine streets, absorbing the urban landscape and the brilliant details that define the cyberpunk genre. While missions provide structure and pace to the narrative, it is in the intervals between these moments that the true essence of the city is revealed. It is these details, these neon landscapes, and this richly nuanced atmosphere that bring the virtual world to life, without which Cyberpunk 2077 would lose its unique identity and cease to be truly cyberpunk. Blade Runner is unquestionably one of the greatest exponents of cyberculture, but initially faced difficulties finding its audience due to budgetary concerns that led producers to make alterations to the film. These changes may have hindered audience connection from the outset, resulting in 7 different versions over the years as attempts to adjust and rectify the controversial executive decisions. Set in 2019, Los Angeles, Blade Runner portrays a humanity that has reached its scientific pinnacle, but also faces the devastating consequences of its socio-environmental irresponsibility. Natural resources have been depleted, forcing either extraterrestrial colonization or clustering in overpopulated, decaying megacities where the pursuit of financial resources reigns supreme. In this scenario, corporations have made significant strides in robotics, creating replicants that are virtually indistinguishable from humans except for their inability to develop emotions. Originally designed as slave labor for hazardous missions in space, replicants, especially the Nexus 6 models, began to exhibit emotional responses, rendering them dangerous and unfit for their original purpose. To control them, their lifespan was limited to a period of 4 years. It's crucial to note that despite its Brazilian title, Blade Runner, the Android Hunter, replicants are neither androids nor clones, but bioengineered beings identical to humans in every physical aspect except emotional capacity. Their detection is only possible through the Voight-Kampff test, designed to elicit emotional responses, revealing their true nature. The plot follows a group of Nexus 6 replicants who escape a colony after a violent act and arrive on Earth seeking a way to prolong their lives. Rick Deckard, former Blade Runner, is summoned to hunt them down, and his journey is not merely a chase, but a quest for his own identity in a world where the line between human and artificial is increasingly blurred. The film is not only an intense action piece, but also a profound philosophical reflection on human identity, challenged by corporate bureaucracy and the veracity of the capitalist world. Deckard, a worn-out and solitary individual, is forced to confront not only the replicants, but also his own essence and purpose. His murky past and skills as a Blade Runner are enveloped in a mystery he is reluctant to unravel, revealing a journey of self-discovery amid the relentless pursuit. Throughout the film, the boundaries between hunter and hunted blur. Deckard seeks the replicants, but also seeks to understand himself, while the Nexus 6 struggle for survival and for the extension of their limited lives. The potential revelation that Deckard may be a replicant adds layers of moral and existential complexity, questioning what it means to be human in a world where technology has advanced beyond traditional understanding of humanity. The film uses symbols like the unicorn, present in Deckard's dreams, to suggest that his memories may not be his own, but artificial implants. This raises questions about the authenticity of human experience and personal identity humanity, while the line between reality and artifice blurs. Blade Runner also addresses issues of prejudice and humanity. Replicants, though conscious and sentient beings, are treated as less than human simply because of their artificial origin. This reflection on discrimination and acceptance sheds light on the failings of human society in the film, where those who should exemplify humanity often demonstrate less compassion and empathy than the replicants themselves. Ultimately, Blade Runner is not just a sci-fi thriller, but a meditation on what it means to be human, how technological advances can affect our perception of identity and morality, and how love and compassion can transcend the boundaries created by corporate interests and ingrained prejudices. It is a work that challenges the viewer to question not only the future of technology, but also the future of our humanity. Blade Runner 2049 is a tale of melancholy and introspection that deeply resonates with contemporary reality. At the heart of this futuristic narrative, we find Kay, portrayed impeccably by Ryan Gosling. He is a replicant who yearns for a meaningful identity in a world where the line between human and artificial is increasingly blurred. His journey is an incessant quest for understanding and connection in a chaotic and desolate urban landscape, echoing the emotional challenges faced by many in modern society. The dystopian landscape of Blade Runner 2049 is not merely an aesthetic setting, but a dark mirror of our own fragmented reality. Like Kay, many individuals today experience a profound existential loneliness, despite the seemingly limitless technological connectivity that permeates their lives. The advanced technology depicted in the film, such as artificial intelligences and simulated realities, offers superficial comfort but does not fill the inner void that many face. However, amidst Kay's despair, there is a message of hope and awakening. His journey is not only a search for his origins, but also a quest for autonomy and self-discovery. By confronting his own humanity and the limitations imposed by his creators, Kay questions not only his own existence, but also the values and priorities of a society that values technological progress over human experience. Just as Blade Runner 2049 delves into the complexities of the human condition through the eyes of a replicant, it challenges us to reflect on our own journey in a world increasingly dominated by technology and materialism. Kay's sadness is a painful reminder that even in a world of impressive advancements, true fulfillment comes from genuine connection, self-knowledge, and the pursuit of a purpose that transcends the limitations imposed by artificial systems and power structures. The cyberpunk genre, with its technological dystopias and distorted societies, offers a disturbing mirror of reality. In 2024, Japan, with its fusion of tradition and innovation, reflects many of the central themes of cyberpunk in a philosophical and provocative manner. At the heart of cyberpunk is the intersection between humanity and technology. Japan, with its rich culture and technological advancements, epitomizes this fusion. In Tokyo, we see a city where futuristic skyscrapers rise alongside ancient temples, a tangible reminder that the past and the future coexist in constant tension. This duality echoes philosophical concerns about the relationship between tradition and progress, between what we are and what we aspire to be. For instance, one might observe numerous videos showcasing individuals exploring the splendid city of Tokyo. However, concurrently, it emerges as a somewhat disheartening metropolis, where individuals inhabit proximate spaces yet remain emotionally distant, bereft of meaningful discourse. Instances of street altercations, ubiquitous presence of escorts, and surreptitious scammers lurking in alleys pervade the cityscape, akin to scenes from Blade Runner 2049. Upon closer scrutiny, one discerns the intricate alignment of these elements, and all amidst an eerie silence. Furthermore, the role of megacorporations in cyberpunk resonates in Japanese reality, where multinational conglomerates wield significant influence in the economy and politics. These corporate entities, as in cyberpunk, often transcend the bounds of democratic control, raising questions about power, ethics, and responsibility. The proliferation of digital technology also echoes cyberpunk. In Japan, we see a highly connected society where smart devices and virtual reality are increasingly integrated into the fabric of everyday life. This technological ubiquity confronts us with philosophical questions about identity and reality, leading us to question where the self begins and ends in a digitally interconnected world. Despite the chaotic future inequality and identity crises, cyberpunk has transformed into a more colorful and optimistic version in recent years. Even in dark, rainy, and gloomy scenarios, we find peace. It's hard to explain the beauty of cyberpunk in words, but experience and contemplation make us realize something beyond. It's an artistic expression that enriches our imagination and inspires us. Even in the face of existential emptiness, we find comfort. The questions, loneliness, and fear of the future are what make us human, connecting us more than the internet or a virtual network. Thanks to cyberpunk, we reflect on ourselves and the world around us. I hope this video has provided you with a similar reflection. If you enjoyed it, please comment and consider supporting the channel. Thank you very much, and until next time.
The strangers.